And of course, once you lose privacy, you lose the ability to read, write, watch, communicate, and to be fully participatory citizens. So it becomes the sort of end of democracy, potentially. It's one of the tools you can use to try and target terrorism is the electronic snooping, of course. It always has been and it always will be. However, I think what we've seen since 9/11, when the Americans really ramped up the war on terror, is they have always over-relied on electronic snooping. They've been far less good at, for example, recruiting human agents that can penetrate groups and report back to you. And that is the best form of intelligence you can get. So our Western agencies have followed the Americans down this path to a very damaging degree. And we've seen this time and again, all the attacks happening across Europe now. All of these people are known to the authorities before they carry out the attack. What they didn't have, though, was preemptive intelligence to stop that attack. And you're not going to get that by listening to someone's phone or reading their emails or WhatsApp or whatever, because they're not going to say, hey, today I'm going to drive a truck into people. The only way to get that sort of preemptive intelligence, again, is to have human agents out there in the community. And you can task them to find out. You can task them with specific questions. And that's how you get the information that can save lives. Well, in the UK, I think they still believe in the myth of James Bond. That has been the greatest PR coup in the last 100 years, I think, because we think in Britain that our spies are goodies. They would never, harm us or anything like that. Secondly, I think technologically, most people just don't give a shit. I mean, that's the problem. They don't understand it. They've forgotten the lessons of history about why things like privacy is a fundamental human right and the importance of it. So I think there's a whole range of different things. And apathy. People just like the convenience of a smartphone. They like convenience of a laptop. And they don't want to think too much about the technology underpinning it. But I think mainly it's the mythology that our guys are the good guys. They could take over the entire Internet of Things and crash everything. I mean, we already saw that last year in America and also some of our countries in Europe. The biggest botnet ever built was built using the Internet of Things, which are all unsecured. I mean, we might put a password on our laptop. We're not going to put it on our baby monitor. So if you do that, then you have this immense firepower which can be used for bad intentions. The person who's running the botnet might be a master criminal or an enemy power or something like that. And then harnessing that vast power, they can black out whole countries. Now, if you think about it, airplanes could fall from the skies, the flood barriers could go up, come down or whatever. I mean, any of this stuff is automated. All our countries run on basic internet infrastructure. So if that can be attacked massively, then we are all in serious trouble. I think the other factor as well is something that was exposed by WikiLeaks, the Vault 7 stash of documents, which showed the CIA has been gathering this cyber arsenal of different attacks and hacks, which they can then use very dangerously, and they can obfuscate who's actually doing the attack. They can make it look like the Russians, or they can make it look like the Chinese, or something like that. And similarly, we know from the shadow brokers scandal that the NSA has this huge cyber arsenal as well. And the shadow brokers are not quite as good as WikiLeaks, should we say. They were trying to flog this information to criminals, to the highest bidder. And now they've just started releasing some of these zero-day hacks and other weapons that they were storing at the NSA. And this, of course, means that they're out there, and criminals can get them, and they can mutate them and start using them against us. So I think we're facing quite a range of different types of high-end threat at the moment. I would argue it is the state's duty, absolutely, to provide that degree of protection. However, one, they don't seem to have the will to do it. Two, they like certain vulnerabilities because they can exploit them. And three, we can't actually trust our spies to obey the law anymore. And we know this from various whistleblowers. So that's why perhaps building your own little sort of air raid shelter in your back garden might become necessary.